very special episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous. This is going to be our Lamenters episode, voted on by you patrons over at patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. We put up the stretch goal of $1,337 a month, and y'all crushed it. Apparently, everybody wants to hear about the Lamenters. Bricky, you're a little iffy on the Lamenters, but it's apparently a fan favorite, so we're going to get into it. And Shy gave me a couple of stats that she wanted me to read out. So, since this is our 10th episode, right now you can listen to our podcast nonstop for 10 hours, which officially makes it bingeable. I think it was bingeable before that. We now have over 200 patrons, which is enough to fill an entire anti-social distancing movie theater.
What?
That's a weird stat, Shy. We're also closing in on 10,000 subs on YouTube, which is enough to fill a social distancing compliant stadium.
I'm sorry. Anti-social distancing theater. You mean a fucking theater? You mean a normal-ass theater?
A normal-ass theater, yeah. All of our goals, by the way, are socially distant compliant, by the way. So just
that's
to make
very
sure.
True. We record this online in Discord, very far from each other.
Oh, yeah, we have the social distancing regulations all filled out. We're so far away from each other. So
when you really think about it, Space Marines are always wearing giant suits of armor, so they're always social distancing.
Oh, yeah, totally. We also got around 50,000 downloads on podcast platforms and 200,000 views on YouTube. Bricky has been... This is an actual stat. Bricky has been actually 1,537 times.
Nice. That means I'm doing my job right.
Wait, this next stat. Okay, this next stat is heresy, and I'm calling bullshit on it. DK exclaimed the Lord's name in vain approximately 7 million times.
Oh yeah, because you're always like, Jesus!
Jesus! It's Warhammer! What am I supposed to say?
Emperor!
Hallelujah! Jesus! Oh my god! Like, what else? Oh.
Praise be Gork and Mork.
Oh, that's true. Oh my, Gork and Mork. I could do that. Over the course of the last 9 episodes, at least 2 characters who use weapons of mass destruction for the purpose of planetary-grade devastation were turned into awful memes. Colonel Yurdi and Doge Van Dyne. That's true. Can we pick them or what?
I think Doge Van Dyne is a personal favorite of mine.
Well, he is the
new channel mascot. The objectively worse than Hitler man is our official mascot in Doge form.
In Doge form. Ooh. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. It's I was gonna say it's kind of fitting, but I'm like, we're not that bad. Anyway, Shy's Vegas Pro 18 crashed at least twice while editing each of the podcast episodes. Oof, you should probably look into a new editing suite.
I mean, Adobe can suck a dick, but Premiere is a very good software.
I have heard Premiere is actually really good. Yeah,
it's hard to relearn, but it is pretty. I mean, it does crash still sometimes, but it's better than Vegas.
Mm-hmm. And no squigs were harmed in the creation of this podcast. That was an important factoid that we needed to get out of the way on our landmark 10th episode. So.
I didn't realize this was our 10th episode.
Yeah,
I guess it is.
It sure is. I was looking at the list before this all started, and yeah, we're at 10. I'm just like, damn, it feels like we've been doing this for like 2 weeks.
Seriously. 10 episodes. And we covered the entire Horus Heresy.
Yeah, in just 3.
And Necrons and wow, we've actually gone quite far. Wow, all right.
We've done a lot of stuff. So thanks again to everyone at patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. As we're sort of closing in on the $2,000 a month goal. So yeah.
I'm glad that we have a statistic on how many times I've been actually. That feels good because I'm like, it's just like, it's, the point is just going so over their heads. I'm like, if I get actually, that means that I'm doing a good job.
Yep, and apparently you're doing a great job.
Fantastic job.
And now I need to find different exclamations. I use the Lord's name in vain far too much.
Use snack food. Like holy bugles.
Holy bugles. Oh my Ritz.
Oh my Doritos.
Oh Mountain Dew. That's so much worse.
It's so much worse.
Well,
shall we get into the Lamenters now?
We shall. And I have specifically prepared for this episode so I was scanning the Discord the other day, maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, and I noticed that I had a mention, and it was from Shy, all caps, "Don't read anything on the Lamenters, DK, spoilers." So I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of avoid the Discord, not look anything up. All I know about the Lamenters is that their color scheme looks like a taxi cab. It's the yellow, it's the checkerboard.
Oh my god, it does. I didn't think about that.
They're literally taxi cabs, dude.
Oh my god. I never thought it was about the taxi cab part.
It dawned on me like a day ago, and I was like, I gotta bring this up. They are literal taxi cabs.
Oh my god. So, alright, so the Lamenters, so there's gonna be a die-hard Lamenter like guy watching this, and he's gonna be really upset because I am not gonna be able to do these guys justice. Straight up, I will not be able to do them justice like he probably wants me to. But at the same time, tough. But
tough shit.
Yeah, tough shit. But honestly, I did some looking up. I did my research. I got my Google Doc here. I got all my things down, and I will say, I appreciate them more than when I didn't look them up. I still think that, as a huge Salamanders fan, they're not quite like up there on my like, oh my god, they're so amazing, because they're just Salamanders but depressing. So it's like, they're both really big bros and everything, but
yeah,
let's get into it. So I actually kind of wish we had did an episode of the Blood Angels before this, because it probably would have helped out more, but we'll do that later, I guess. All right, so the Lamenters are a Blood Angels successor chapter. So way back when, Horus Heresy era, you had the 18 chapters, 9-turn trader.
Yeah.
Those are like the first foundings. They're like the OG chapters. But you can have successor chapters, and successor chapters are like, okay, you still have the gene seed from the main Primarch, but it's like a smaller organization. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Gilliman was like, you can't have Marines in a chapter that are any bigger than this amount, because if you do, we get heresy problems again, or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. So
you don't have any more heresy problems.
We're sick of heresy problems.
Yep.
So like the Imperial Fists with the Rogel Door, and they have like the Black Templars and the Crimson Fists, and they're both successor chapters, and they have their own dealio. So the Lamenters are a successor chapter of the Blood Angels, with the Primarch of Sanguinius, who famously got fucking choke slammed by Horus in the Horus Heresy.
That famous art piece where he's just laid out, fucking dead.
Yeah,
Emperor shows up. Yeah.
It's a good. That art piece is so like, it's
iconic, right?
It's surprisingly iconic. Maybe just because of the art style, or maybe it reminds me of like old 18th century paintings. It's kind of cool. But they were started in something known as the 21st founding, which is I guess it's the 21st founding of a successor chapter or whatever. It's also known as the cursed founding. So we're starting off hard. So the Admech were like, okay, so those Blood Angel guys, right? Their Primarch died, and now they're haunted by visions of their dead Primarch forever.
They're vampires. They drink blood. They need blood, otherwise they go into crazy rage.
Pretty much, and eventually they go into crazy rage no matter what. It's called the Black Rage.
Right.
And once you've reached a Black Rage level, you're turned into like a death company, which is just your purpose is to just run at the enemy at Mach 5 and hopefully die while inflicting as much carnage as you can. Because if you survive, you're gonna get sent back and killed anyway because you're too dangerous to be kept. Which so they got crazy things. So the Admech took Lamenters, and they fucked around with Sanguinius's gene seed to hopefully get rid of that Black Rage defect.
Right.
And they did. And they were able to get rid of it. But there seemed to be like the idea of probability where it's like, okay, technically everything has a chance to happen, but these boys got fucked over so much that there's got to be something else going on. Like Tzeentch is just there, like, let's look at this shit. Like something's up with them.
Right.
So almost a huge amount of the chapters found in the 21st founding were fucked up in some way. And so Lamenters were naturally disliked by many other Space Marines because they thought they were untrustworthy.
Oh.
They didn't trust them. They were like, you guys are unstable. You'll turn to chaos. Get the fuck away from me.
So they had no reason to really distrust him. It's not like the Lamenters were like, oh yeah, hey guys, did you know we're gonna betray you or something? They were just inherently untrustworthy of them, thought they were unstable, and fuck you guys, you're the worst.
It's like if your anime club at your high school, it's like if 9 out of 10 of them all like decide to shoot somebody. Like that, that 10th guy is probably a totally nice guy, but I don't trust him.
Right.
I don't trust him at all.
That's fair. It's something about the company you keep. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were all kind of had problems, and so the rest of the Space Marines were like, "Ew, Lamenters, taxis, get away from me." They also had a problem with their Gene C, where they had a constant amount of like mental melancholy. They were constantly like kind of suffering from this weird state of melancholy the whole time, which is weird and not great.
That's not great. That's
and yeah, apparently a lot of the other 21st founding chapters turned to chaos. So another reason to not trust them. So the Lamenters were like, okay, you guys don't like us. We're gonna, instead of like risking persecution by the Inquisition and stuff, we're gonna go fight the Xenos, because when it comes to the map of the galaxy, the far and away space, like in the corners of the galaxy, tends to be Xenospace. And since they're a chapter that doesn't have a home planet, unlike everyone else, they're a fleet-based chapter. You know, like Corians in like Mass Effect.
Right. Flotillas.
So yeah, big flotilla ships. So they decide, okay, we're gonna go, instead of fighting the enemy within, we're gonna fight the enemy without, and we're gonna go fight Xenos at the far reaches of space. However, during that period of time, did we talk about Abaddon? We haven't yet, have we?
No, I think after the Horus Heresy was done, I was like, hey, what comes next? Who's the big villain? And I think you and Shai were like, oh, it's Abaddon, but we'll get to him later, because he's a dick too, I think.
Yeah, he's a dick. Okay, so he's had 13 Black Crusades, which are like his big crusades to stop the Imperium. He's failed like almost all of them besides the 13th, but that's kind of why he's jokingly referred to as a failure. He's like Failbadon.
He's tried 13 times. Like, of course.
He's caused problems, but yeah, he hasn't done.
He's never won. Yeah.
Well, besides the 13th one.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, the 13th one was the Fall of Cadia, and that was his good stuff. But it is pretty tough. Anyway, during the 9th Black Crusade, the Lamenters were called back to defend a hive world from, his shenanigans. And the other Space Marine chapter that was there on said hive world straight up refused to fight with them. The Mortifactors chapter, they were super suspicious, and they were like, we would rather leave than serve with you. So they bailed. They bailed on the entire planet because they didn't want to fight with the Lamenters. So the Lamenters, in order to help save the population and save the humans in the Hive City, they held out until only about 200 Lamenters were left. They're like a massive chunk of their entire chapter fucking died until finally at the end the Ultramarines and the White Scars came to help them out.
Oh man, that's so fucked up.
So it gets worse. So after,
of course it does. It's Warhammer.
So after only 200 of them were left, they were really fucking sad that like most of their company died, and so they left after being rescued by the White Scars and Ultramarines, and then they got stranded in the warp for 100 years, due to a warp storm, and constantly fighting demons from like trying to fuck them for like 100 years.
That's so unlucky. So, like, how did they get caught in the warp? Is it just because, like, they were fleeing and then blip, they like accidentally warped into?
Nah, like a warp storm, big old warp storm.
Oh, right. I didn't realize warp storms just popped up out of nowhere and like just engulfed people. That sucks.
Yeah, they were stuck in the warp for like 100 years. I think their Geller fields didn't always work well, so they had demons attacking them. And they were there for 100 years, 200 men, constantly fighting demons. And then they finally came out, and they were good again. And then they started refilling back to full strength. They were working their way up, and they decided to fight with another group called the Astral Claws, who were, surprisingly, like, the only friends. The Astral Claws were the only group that ever showed them, like, any kind of kindness.
Oh, and they started fighting them?
No. They started fighting with them.
Oh, with them. Okay, I misheard you. I thought you said they started fighting them, and I was like, man, these Lamenters cannot catch a break.
No, not yet. No, don't worry, they won't catch a break. But at the current moment, they're working with them because they were the only chapter that showed them any kind of kindness.
Damn, even 100 years later, after being caught in the warp, after making that last stand, going down to only 200 of them, everybody still fucking hates them?
Yeah.
Holy s'mores.
Okay. Sorry, that wasn't that funny. I don't know why that was so funny. So anyway, okay, so Space Marines are petty assholes. All right, Space Marines,
No,
I mean, they're not as bad as Imperial Knights, but they're hoity-toity douchebags quite often because they consider themselves better than the average person, which they are.
They are, yeah.
They're very like, the duty of the chapter and the brothers are more important than an Imperial citizen. Goodbye. Enjoy getting murdered by Tyranids.
Oof. Jesus. And indeed, assholes. Yep. Fair.
So let's go into some notable battles. We got about four. We got about four, right. And they make up the bulk of the Lamenters lore. So the first one is the Corinth Crusade. Now, it was fought in a planet called Slaughterhouse 3, which was an orc slave mining planet.
I was about to ask, who names their place Slaughterhouse 5? And of course the orcs do.
Of course the orcs.
Okay, fair enough.
So about 300 so they were chilling around with the Ultramarines at the time. And basically they were looking down there and they saw hundreds of thousands of human slaves going into like mining mines and just never returned. And because there were a bunch of orcs. And of course the Lamenters were like, this rustles my jimmies, because they're the bro tier guys. So working along with Ultramarines, the Ultramarines chapter master is a guy named Marnius Calgar. So Calgar was like, okay, we'll help them. It's like a whole orc world. It's quite hard to deal with. He was like, all right, we'll help them, sure, or you're allowed to help them, but we Ultramarines are not going to assist you. If you're going to help them, this is on your own.
Right.
And
I guess that makes sense because the Ultramarines are like whatever, trying to save a bunch of civilians from an orc planet has got to be a massive undertaking because those are orcs. Like we just discussed how hard orcs are to kill and how bad they are and how much they'll fuck you up. I imagine trying to save people from a planet of them is just like, nope. Sorry, civvies. It's not worth it.
Kind of. I mean, I think Ultramarines are supposed to be nice, but they get so much preferential treatment that I'll shit on them regardless. I'm looking at you, Luton.
Ooh, shots!
So, speaking of shots, the Lamenters decided to go for it anyway. They only had 300 of them, but they attacked the orc population, and while they started attacking, the human population kind of rose up. They were like, yeah, rebellion. And 3 million people were rescued.
Wow.
But the Lamenters only had one major battle barge, and they couldn't escort 3 million people off the planet. And so this one badass tech marine was like furiously trying to fix orc ships that, are orc ships.
Yeah, good luck. It's all just scrap metal that falls apart, right?
Not sometimes, but pretty often. And so they kept on trying to fix it this entire time. But then about 100 Lamenters died during this fight.
Ooh.
So, that was pretty bad. But then the humans were like, hey, you guys are awesome. You really helped us out. We like you. Leave us behind and get off world. It matters more that you guys survive.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Like, yeah, damn, go bro to your humans. Yeah. And so the Lamenters were not happy with this decision, but they said, okay, fine. And so what they did is they detonated a fuckload of bombs underneath in the underground orc mines. Oh. And which basically was akin to declaring exterminatus on the planet. So only about 100 Lamenters survived. And with some furious adjustments to the battle barge and the orc transports, about 250,000 survivors were able to make it off world, which compared to 3 million is less than 10%.
Yeah, that's at least they got some of them.
They got them, 250,000. They got them, and they made it back. And Marnius Calgar, the Ultramarines guy, was like fucking ecstatic. He was like, "Holy shit! You guys are like really, really brave and powerful, and there's only 100 of you left. Oh my god! Here's an iron halo, and an iron halo is like a I think it's a force field type deal. It's a damn powerful piece of tech.
Okay.
And as like a gift or like a medal almost.
Yeah, like a medal of honor almost. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. And then the Lamenters denied it because they were like, we don't feel like heroes. Like 3 million people were there.
Yeah, they had to sacrifice so many humans. They could only save less than 10%. Only 100 of them survived. Yeah, I guess they probably wouldn't feel like, oh, we won.
But
we're all dead.
So they decided to deny it, and then Calgar was like, all right, fine. But then the rest of the Ultramarines were like, what the fuck? Why aren't you taking the thing from our chapter master? You guys are weird and suspicious. We don't like you. So the rest of the Ultramarines got more angry and suspicious at them because they wouldn't accept his gift.
They really can't catch a break, can they?
Nope.
After all that, after saving all those people, regretting it, only 100 of them survived. Finally, they get some recognition, and everybody's just like, "Yeah, fuck you. You didn't take his gift. You're shady as fuck." Back to hating the Lamenters.
Don't want our gift? Are you chaos? What are you, chaos or something? Huh? So
it's an Iron Halo. Come on, you idiot.
Hey, those things are cool. Actually, I'm gonna look up what an Iron Halo is real quick because I'm trying to figure this out. A revered part of the armory of the chapters of Adeptus Astartes, and is a common Astartes award for valor. Let's see, prestigious honor. Oh, here it is. Combat effect. Very strong conversion field around its wearer, which makes its armor even harder to pierce. Oh yeah. So maybe they should have taken that, because it would have made them tankier. But oh well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get lamenting that you couldn't save all those people and that you lost a bunch of people, but like, that's a perma buff, homie. Like you want that so that you don't die the next time this happens.
I think in game it's a 4-up invul save or something like that, which is pretty good. Yeah, it's Iron Halo. He should have taken it. I'm just gonna say that he should have taken it.
Suddenly I'm just like, man, these Lamenters, I'm suspicious now.
Are you suspicious now?
I'm suspicious of these Lamenters. They seem weird. They seem heretical to me.
Well, we'll talk about the Badab War in a moment, and then you'll change your mind. But
the Badab War.
Badab.
You know what I'm thinking, right?
No. Oh, no.
I can picture is someone dabbing downwards and doing it wrong, and everyone's like, man, that's a bad dab.
It's Lamenters doing a bad dab, badab. fuck this. All right, so there's this other thing in the Jericho Reach, which is, this is a thing where they escorted a rogue trader. Imagine a rogue trader, kind of like a Mass Effect example. It's like Shepard and his group. It's like a human guy. He works for the Imperium. Sometimes they bring aliens on their ship to help them out. They're like mercenaries, or they're like their own kind of little like investigative group or something. It's kind of cool. It's like if you want a more like human style type deal.
Yeah.
So they had like 1,000-year debt to this rogue trader guy, so they helped him out and they like escorted his ship. Well, one of their ship suffered a massive drive failure, and they all had to escape from the ship, and most to all of the Lamenters there died.
Wow.
And like only like a few of them survived, and they were then indicted into the Death Watch, which is a different version of Space Marines. But a lot of the ones on that escort vessel died. So
Yeah,
the Lamenters are once again not doing very well.
Jesus. So do Lamenters ever have that many people in them? It seems like every battle they go to, they fight tooth and nail. They do really well, but like 90% of them get fucked, and they have to like rebuild the Lamenters all over again.
Yeah, kinda. They're mainly just being kicked when they're down. They finally get like back up to a solid amount of strength, and then they immediately just get pummeled again, and that's that.
Jesus. Oh, sorry, I didn't come up with the snack food. Sorry, guys.
No, I was waiting. I was like, how dare you?
Damn,
you messed it up.
I fucked up.
So let's talk about the Badab War. So basically, remember those guys, the Astral Claws, they kept fighting with?
Yes.
So Astral Claw, I think Chapter Master Lukfutlan, where the
Gesundheit.
what the fuck his name is? I don't listen, man. All right, listen. I'm putting this name in chat. Tell me how you pronounce that.
Oh God.
Lugfthuron. I don't fucking know, man.
I would guess that the G was silent, and I'd go Huron or Huron.
That's not as funny. He's not left at all. There's nothing left about him. His name is Luggy. All right, Shai told us he's gonna call him Luggy now.
Luggy. Yep.
Luggy Huron.
Luggy of the Astral Claws. Yep.
So good old Luggy wanted to fight a big old war in a maelstrom area of space, and the Imperium was like, nah. He was denied. And so he was like, how dare you? And so in the Badab sector, he led like a kind of an insurrection against the Imperial forces there, who they believed to be pretty damn corrupt, like greedy assholes. When they were like, we need to lead our fight. We're gonna do an insurrection here.
Yeah.
And so obviously the Lamenters, being like lifelong bros with the Astral Claws, helped them out, as well as another group called the Mantis Warriors, because they were their first ever like genuine actual friends.
Oh.
So with that though, turns out our good friend Luggy actually turned chaos, and so did all of the Astral Claws.
Oh no.
So then the Minotaurs chapter, which is another Successor chapter, arrived and were like, oh boy, a whole lot of traitors.
Oh no.
And the Minotaurs are like pretty brutal. They're like Space Wolves level. And so they just came in and just like curb stomped them. Yeah, they're very like Doomslayer Space Marines, absolutely.
The Minotaurs are like Doomslayers?
They're like Doomslayer Space Marines.
Wow.
Actually,
that's pretty hardcore.
I think their color scheme does carry like a little bit of a Doomslayer look to it. Oh well, actually maybe that's the color scheme. More so the fact that they just really like killing.
Man, I suddenly feel so very bad for the Lamenters again. They had one group of friends, lifelong friends, in the Astral Claws, and whoops, all chaos, and it's just
oops, all chaos.
Oh man.
So the Minotaurs came by, and then they just pounded them into submission.
Oh man.
They fought tooth and nail. The Astral Claws, they went to chaos and all, but eventually the Lamenters surrendered, reduced again to only like 300 Marines.
Yeah, of course.
And by doing so, they were then imprisoned. And the Minotaurs, very upset that they lost a bunch of their dudes and their gear, they, requisitioned a large amount of the Lamenters' ships and their gears.
Oh,
and basically stole it because they were like, you fuckers destroyed our shit. It's our shit now.
Oh, God. Ugh.
So the Mantis Warriors and the Astral Claws. I don't really know what happened to them. I'm pretty sure the Astral Claws are all, they're all chaos
all
now.
dead.
So who cares?
Oh, okay, they're chaos.
Or they're dead, or they ran away, or whatever. I don't care much about. I don't care about Lucky. But the Lamenters, they were actually given a pardon by the courts.
So I was wondering when the Astral Claws went chaos, did the Lamenters didn't turn on them? Did they actually like fight the Minotaurs off or try to fight them with the Astral Claw?
No, so the Astral Claws, they lied, and they were like, hey, all these Imperium officials are corrupted, or they're corrupt. That's why they're not letting us fight.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so they didn't know they were chaos.
Okay. Gotcha.
They were just completely unknown. They're like, oh my god, we didn't know they turned to chaos.
In my head, I was like, oh god, are the Lamenters being punished for something that, like, they didn't even... You're friends with bad people! Prison!
Well, that was what was happening. But
okay.
they did get a bit of a they got let go. They got let go. The courts were like, okay, you screwed up, but you're gonna show some penance right now. All right. So they had to do a thing called the Penance Crusade. And the Penance Crusade is 100 years of crusading for the Emperor, but you are completely unallowed to replace your losses with new Marines.
Oh no.
Just not allowed to.
Oh no. This is bad for the Lamenters, isn't it? This is real bad for them. The way this story has gone so far, this
can't be good.
I just imagine 100-year crusade with like a Lamenter and a half. There's one Lamenter that's still just trudging along and another one that doesn't have a leg. He's on a crutch and they can't replace anything. And
or the other one's in a dreadnought. He's just like, he's already died.
Yeah, he's already dead. Yep, sure.
So in their 100-year crusade, they decided to get to another area of space. They found these dudes. They're called the Tyranids. And there's these things called the Hive Fleet Kraken, which is one of the more terrifying Tyranid hive fleets. They found the Hive Fleet at the fringes of space, and the Tyranids were like, no, on a fucking human planet, and they were just eating up all the populace. And the Lamenters were like, oh god, it's the populace. There's some good humans. I'm gonna go help them. So they went down there. And they helped, and they tried to fight the Tyranids for as long as they possibly could. And they really held out. But then, if things could not have gotten worse, they got worse. So it turns out that during this fight, the Admech solution for the Black Rage didn't work, and the Black Rage came back.
Oh, toaster strudels. That's...
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts, toaster strudels, and any other pastry you can think of, because that sucks.
So this is a real Pillsbury Doughboy moment.
That's man, everything bad that could happen has happened to these fools, hasn't it?
Well, because the Black Rage came back, they had to send a lot of Marines as death company, which obviously was to their death, but they can't recoup their losses because they're on the Penance Crusade.
Oh, yep, that's a biscuit.
So they couldn't refill their losses. Mm-hmm. They lost nearly all of their men, besides like 2 companies, and to most of the world, this was thought to be the death of their chapter. And the Tyranids ate the rest of them alive, and the Lamenters are no more.
Oh, jeez. Cheese and crackers. That's
this is not true. It was thought to be the end. It was thought to be the end. It probably was the end until GW probably retconned it, because that's what they do.
They wanted to sell more Lamenters minis, of course.
Dude, then they won't sell Lamenters minis. You see these fuckers in their taxi cab ass looking.
That's true. They are. Well, I mean, you could custom paint them to not look atrocious.
Probably. Well, so it turns out that there's like for instance, one of the major Lamenter characters is a Dreadnought, and he's currently working with the Death Watch. The Death Watch, we'll get to them eventually, but they're like Spec Ops Marines.
Oh, okay.
They're entirely about killing aliens.
Okay.
So it's the idea, like the Death Watch are built from other chapters. Like this a team of guys might be like one Salamander, one Ultramarine, one Lamenter, because it's the idea that like, okay, we've fought the alien, we've seen the terror they can provide. We are now going to dedicate our life to killing aliens.
So are they just like the best of the best, or are they just like
they're specifically suited for killing aliens? They have a bunch of rules that like are specific to like stop the Eldar from being annoying, make reanimation protocols not as powerful, screw up the hive mind of the Tyranids. They're very like dedicated to killing aliens.
Okay, gotcha.
But one of the and they actually look fucking cool. They have like jet black armor with like gold symbols on their. We'll talk about them eventually, but they're really cool looking.
Yeah, they are. Shai just posted a picture of them. They look sick.
They're badass. They're literally like the Spec Ops. They're like the Navy SEALs, like the Danish frogmen of Space Marines. But yeah. So one guy particularly is the Dreadnought Chiron, and basically he's one of the only dreadnoughts within the Lamenters chapter, and he's part of the Ordo Xenos of the Death Watch, and he thought he was the only surviving member of the entire Lamenters chapter because he's the last guy part of the Death Watch. Not anymore. The Lamenters have been bolstered thanks to Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
He gave them a bunch of Primaris Marines, which are all those like new Marines. And so he started to bolster their groups, started to help out their chapter a bit. But before them, Lamenters were thought to be they were gone. They were dead, so they were out. And that like there really isn't a whole lot else on the Lamenters. There's a couple like maybe small battles here and there, but truthfully, it's just having a really bad time. So let's roll it back. Curse Founding tried to remove the Black Rage. Couldn't remove the Black Rage. Nope. Constant state of melancholy. All of the Space Marines considered them untrustworthy. Were left behind on a Chaos planet. Got stranded in the warp for 100 years. Made friends with the Astral Claws. Astral Claws turned Chaos and betrayed them. And then the Imperium, messed them up. Had a horrible, painful death on the Orc planet. Ultramarines didn't like them because they refused their honor.
Yep.
A bunch of them died and then got turned to Death Watch when they were escorting the Rogue Trader, and Penance Crusade, and then the Tyranids ate most of the rest of their chapter.
Oh,
and after all of that, they are a bright yellow color with a checkerboard shoulder pad and a bleeding heart circle in the center. It is horse shit trying to paint like Imperial Fists. At least they got like that bumblebee look. They're yellow and black, but what is this?
Yeah,
what is this?
From what I've seen of people painting, the checkerboard is the fucking worst. It's the most bullshit thing that people try to paint because there's no decal that's just like, oh, here's a big decal sheet of checkerboard. It's just like, no, you gotta custom paint that shit yourself. Teeny tiny little boxes on these teeny tiny little shoulders, and it's just like,
fucking Harlequin players are just sitting there like first time.
Oh yeah,
you don't know. Harlequins have a ton of checkerboards.
Yeah, so Harlequins are one of the few that I've seen. That's like where I first heard people like complaining about checkerboards. Is someone was trying to paint a Harlequin leg with the checkerboard pattern, and it was a nightmare.
It's the worst.
It is. Oof. So how often? So the Lamenters got put on that crusade that went for. It was supposed to go for 100 years. Can't replenish any of their losses. How often does do these chapters get sent on like these
the Penance Crusade?
And how often does a chapter just fucking die out because you can't replenish your losses? This is a 40k universe. You're gonna suffer a lot of death and destruction and losses here.
Well, there are a couple chapters that I know have been extinguished. The problem is the fact that naturally Games Workshop doesn't want to outright kill a chapter because then it makes painting and playing them kind of seem weird.
That's fair. And
then they don't want the players to have less of an opportunity to play their favorite chapter. So not often, I wouldn't say. But to say that they've come to the brink of death is pretty common, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to crusade for 100 years, I don't see any way around that in this wacky Warhammer world that we've got. So,
wacky Warhammer world.
Yeah, we've got a lot of alliteration, man.
The Lamenters, as far as I'm concerned, are, I mean, they're obviously they are not doing particularly great.
No, really,
they're not happy. I mean, they're pretty bros. They're helping out the civilians. They're really nice. They're really kind. But man, it is very true. They cannot seem to catch a break. It is very difficult for them to ever catch a goddamn break.
I mean, they never have. They've never caught a break. Like, throughout this whole episode, it's just been like, hey, watch the Lamenters not catch a break. Watch them catch the exact opposite of a break and get brutally fucked for kind of no reason.
Oops, all pain, all tragedy.
Oops, all depression. Yep, that's the Lamenters. Jesus.
Yeah, they're not doing good. Let's say the least. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I may not be as like excited when it comes to Lamenters compared to some other chapters, is because they actually have a kind of a smaller amount of lore compared to everyone else.
Right.
But also maybe I just don't gravitate towards murder porn. But or tragedy porn or whatever it's called. Like, I'm not the guy who's like, oh, I'm gonna go watch a 9/11 documentary because I just want to have a good time.
Oh, man.
I'm not one of those dudes.
Yeah, that is definitely not a good time. Yeah.
But regardless, they are interesting. I appreciate their like inclusion. I like that they're really trying their hardest, their damnedest. And I guess I have to say that the people who paint them, I gotta have a bit of respect, because
you don't have to, really.
I do, because they're really hard, and all right,
and
you did
ugly,
that,
and
you did it, and I'm like, all right, you did it, and as far as I'm concerned, I gotta respect that paint job, even if it looks ugly.
Yeah, oh boy, their basic colors, like, God, it's atrocious. Like that, if I really wanted to play Lamenters for some reason, like maybe on the tabletop they were just like OP as fuck, I would custom paint the shit out of that. Like, no way would I make them look like Ataxier construction equipment. No way. No, it's awful.
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm glad that they're bros, but I guess maybe the heart, the crying heart obviously has like a Blood Angels, type of deal thing, and
yep. I actually do want to know more about the Blood Angels, because ever since the Horus Heresy, like, Sanguinius seems really cool. The whole vampire thing, super dope. Black Rage and all that seems really, really cool. But I know next episode we're going to be talking about the Death Guard, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so the obviously the Blood Angels is something that we will have to get to. There's not much to talk about with Sanguinius anymore, because
he's dead.
He's dead. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing the Death Guard next, though, because heading off with the Lamenters, and we're going to talk about some really good guys. And now let's talk about some really, really bad guys, because the Death Guard are pretty awful, and Mortarion is pretty evil.
Well, I suppose that makes sense that he'd be pretty evil, sure. Because he's a... he was a Primarch that went to Chaos?
He's a Demon Primarch.
Demon
so he's still the Primarch, but now he's like
Gotcha.
a gigantic like demon creature instead of just being a dude.
And I've seen his... I don't know if calling it a mini is right, because it's fucking huge. His mini, and God, it's so cool. His fucking figure is so, like, with those big decaying wings, the gas mask, the cloak. I think he has a scythe, right?
Yeah. His scythe is called Silence.
Oh,
he's really cool. He's really cool. I mean, he's still a mini in the sense that that dude would probably be towering over you, but
tower over your house.
Actually probably, yeah. He's so big.
And I gotta know about Typhus. I've been kind of, ever since you mentioned Typhus, I have been chomping at the bit to know more about Typhus and how much of a fuck rat he is.
Yeah, so. Typhus fucks, man.
He fucks.
Typhus fucks.
Yeah, I'm stoked for the next episode. Hopefully Lamenters lived up to everybody's expectations. They are sad boys. They
did not. They absolutely did. This episode did not live up to it because I know that the Lamenter fans are like, this was shit. Did not do him justice. Didn't talk about that time when all of their moms were killed and their dogs died or something that is that's in contrast with Lamenters. I'm sure it happened. It's the Lamenters. I'm sure it happened. It's I didn't talk about any of that. It's funny because I do get a lot of I can't believe it didn't talk about, which, that's obviously missing the point, because the point is to do a small condensed version for people who don't understand it. If you want me to do 7 hours of lore, find a different channel. But
this is the bullet point version. This is the Spark Notes.
Only one guy has made me be like, oh, I should have fucking said that. Was in the orc episode about the orc with his. Did you read that comment about the orc and his gun?
The orc and his gun. Oh, was that the lumber?
Oh no, the 2x4 one is funny, but no. There's an orc that traveled back in time to kill himself, so he can have 2 copies of his favorite gun.
How did he go back in time?
I don't fucking know, man. It's orcs. Who cares?
Guys, I really need to go back in time to get another copy of my gun. If you could all just believe that I can time travel, that'd be great.
Hey, he built like some scrap machine, and they were like, "Oh, what is this? It's a time machine." It's like, I believe him. Yeah, I mean, Lamenters are a successor chapter. If we talk about like a big boy one, like an Ultramarines or an Iron Hands or something, I'm like, okay, goddamn, we got a lot to talk about. For this one though, it's smaller, it's simple, and you know what? That one guy, what's that joke where it's like, don't fuck with us Lamenters fans. There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Even that's probably an overestimation. There's like 6 people, it's whatever.
Yeah, if GW ever makes like a Lamenters named character as a model, it's gonna be like an entirely quiet stadium, and there's gonna be one guy in the back like, yes.
One guy clapping. If you had to pick, or I don't know if they have anybody that's notable, but if you had to do a named Lamenter like mini, like you had to come up with one, who would you come up with? Or is there even a record of someone?
Oh yeah, no, they have a few characters.
Okay.
Probably their chapter master. The chapter master is actually kind of neat. There's not a lot about him, but he has seemed kind of cool. His name is chapter master Malachim Forros. That's
a pretty cool name.
Yeah, he's kind of cool. There's not a whole lot. I mean, he's part of those wars that I mentioned earlier and all, but the main thing about him is that he, like, when he's fighting, the black rage kind of like seeps into him, but then he like constantly pulls himself back from the black rage. So he's cool. Yeah, he's like he's nicknamed like the Watcher of the Deeps because he's constantly like pulling himself back from the abyss.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be a cool little minute to have. You can have like a little. I was gonna say he could have a tortured soul vibe, but I was like, it's the Lamenters. They're all tortured souls. So, Lamenters. Yeah,
I did it. I'm
You
sorry
did
that
it,
I can't make it like super fucking exciting because it's hard because normally the excitement comes from when they win against all odds, but these guys don't win.
Yeah, they always come just a hair away from being obliterated entirely. That it's hard. It's hard to get super duper pumped.
I don't have like a bunch of orc randomness. I don't have the famous Goj Van Dyer speech before his death. I don't got that with these boys. But when we do Death Guard, we'll have more. Don't you worry.
Yep. Lamenters is just a series of unfortunate events.
Starring Jim Carrey.
Oh, yep.
All right. Let me roll us out here.
Take us home, Bricky.
Thank you everyone for watching this episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous. My name has been Bricky. You can find me at all things Bricky, Twitch, YouTube, etc. DK, where can they find you?
You can find me at DK Diamantes everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Well, not Instagram because I'm still not raking in enough to buy my property back. So
soon,
one of these days. Once we're all rolling in the cash from Patreon, right?
Rolling it, hopefully.
Rolling, yeah.
Rolling it.
Rolling,
Speaking of rolling in, that's my segue because I'm rolling. Shy, you can find Shy at Quite Shallow and Quiet Shy in multiple different areas.
That was a great segue,
she's upset with my joke. And for everyone else, thank you to our fantastic patrons at patreon.com/ridiculous. If you are a patron, make sure that you have your Discord synced because we have a Discord and it is quite bumping for all the patrons and it's quite enjoyable as the three of us do talk in the chats every so often. So please give it a shot and we will see you next week for Death Guard and maybe a special guest.
Ooh, you gonna leave him on a cliffhanger like that?
I was going to, but then you kept talking.
Sorry.